Well, the question has came up that when you have knotty wood, is it easier to cut 3 to 4 inch slabs, or is it easier to just split it with the wood splitter? So which is it? Which is better? They can't be identical. One must burn better. One must be easier to process. One must be more efficient as a fuel. The second question that comes up is chainsaw slabs might be easier if you don't have a wood splitter, but which is better for heat production? Do the slabs put out the same amount of heat as a standard piece of firewood? Let's find out. The slabs on the right will stack in and sit in real nice on the wood stove, but what's the vertical grain do? The split stuff on the left goes in the wood stove just fine, but how does horizontal grain compare to vertical grain burning? Let's do a time test. Let's see how long it takes to cut up this 6-foot log right here. It's about an 18 to 24 inch diameter log. So let's buck this up into firewood for small slabs and see how it burns compared to conventional firewood pieces. There it is. That's how long it makes to take a pile of firewood that big. But how many days is that? Now we got to figure out how many days worth of fuel this is compared to how many days of fuel conventional firewood lasts. Boy, when you start cutting through those knots, it really slows you down. There's a noticeable slowdown. Those knots are tough. Well, history says one wheelbarrow is 24 hours. I'll get 1 day out of this, if it's anything compared to conventional firewood. That log looks like it's going to give us about 2 more days, maybe 2.5 total, possibly 3 days out of that one log. Day 1, day 2, and 3. Let's go give it a burn, see how it does. Well, the first half weighs 58. I can't lift the whole wheelbarrow, so that's half a wheelbarrow. Second one is 52. Well, I'm estimating 1.5 rounds per day, so 5 rounds should be 3 days worth of wood. Let's try to do some live action cut and split and see how long it takes for 3 days of firewood, conventional style. There it is. Time. First batch is weighing in at 57. Second half is weighing 60. Well, here's some of the slab pieces burning. You can see they lay right in there real nice. Let's turn the light on. They kind of interlock right in there and fit in there just fine. And the burn seems right on with conventional split firewood. Well, which is it? Which one's better? Slabs or split firewood? This thing here won't fit in my wood stove. And I beat the hell out of it with the maul, and it is not getting any smaller. Not unless I want kindling. If this is your option, slab it. Cut slabs. Cut these slabs right here. If it's knotty or junky and it's not splitting right, just slab it. Way easier. But if you got real clean grained wood and real nice rounds, perfectly seasoned, they'll split fine. You can go through a week's worth of firewood in 10 minutes, no problem. And that's what I've been doing. I've been splitting a week's worth at a time. That way it's painless, it's effortless. You don't even feel it. But if it's full of knots and junk and it's too hard to split, just slab it. Cut one piece of firewood into 3 or 4 slabs and then hit it with the maul. It's way less effort that way. Well, how'd it burn? How'd these slabs do in the wood stove? The slabs were the only ones that had coals in the morning left over. And I didn't think that would happen, but the slabs did have coals left over. And one of my thoughts is, when they go in the stove, they stack real nice, and you can get a really good stack for overnight. So maybe the stacking effect is what made the coals last overnight. Way less effort when it's knotty wood, that's for sure. And seemed to let off the same amount of heat. I didn't notice a heat difference between the conventional split firewood and these slabs. They both went in the wood stove real nice, and they both burned pretty good. When I was burning the split stuff, the temperature really dropped, and it dropped down to 10 degrees. It was a good 20 degrees below freezing. Everything was froze up for a few days. But you'd have to be a little more scientific if you wanted true results or real results. Weight-wise, one wheelbarrow weighed about the same, and I went through one wheelbarrow a day. So weight-wise, it was the same. It filled up the wheelbarrow about the same, flung in the wood stove about the same. The wood stove didn't seem to mind. You would need to have one log perfectly seasoned and do your test out of one single log, all from the same source, and then burn it when the temperature's the same. But if somebody doesn't get real scientific, we're never going to know. I'm calling it a draw except for simplicity when you got knotty wood. When it's knotty and bad, slab it. It's knotty wood, the slabs won. If you got really nice rounds, just be a man and split it with a maul. Well, what if you have some 12-inch diameter wood like this? The 12 inches is too thick to fit in my wood stove this way, so one firewood length round is not going to fit. I only have about an 8-inch door height, so a 12-inch diameter round is not going to fit. But I do have the depth, so how about a slab? What if we had a 3-inch slab by 12 inches? That would go right in, because I have 14 inches in depth, so a 10-inch slab would sure fit. So let's test a day's worth of slabs versus a day's worth of split. We'll split down here. We'll slab up here. I won't be able to fit a round of wood until we get way down here, 6 inches or so. Once we're 6-inch diameter, I can fit full firewood rounds straight in the wood stove. But this 12-inch stuff is too thick. So let's try those little 3-inch slabs. They'll slide right in. Well, there it is, a full wheelbarrow. Didn't take me that long. I'm not out of breath or anything. It wasn't that difficult. So let's try the same thing. Let's cut some firewood rounds to regular length, hit it with the splitting maul, and burn that for a day. See what we think of that. 1 day of slabs versus 1 day of split on the 12-inch diameter wood. This damn Port Orford was surprisingly tough, surprisingly dense, but it sure smells good. Wow. Well, that's pretty close to equal as far as volume of wood goes. I'm breathing a lot harder, so that's definitely a lot more effort. But it seemed to go by fast. It almost seemed like it was quicker than cutting the small rounds. So I'm curious to see what the timestamp says. But definitely more effort. I'm breathing a lot harder. A couple degrees above freezing. I'm sweating my ass off. Well, what about the small slabs? What'd you think of the small slabs? Well, again, the slabs were the only thing that had coals the next morning. And it's likely because they stack so nice. this bottom piece here has to burn all the way through before it gets to this piece. So these slabs were the only thing that had coals left for me in the morning. It was easy to get the fire going the next morning. I didn't notice any ease of burning when it went into the wood stove. Both the slabs and the split seemed to burn just the same. But the longevity of stacking it, I believe was the plus. But heat production wise, I saw no difference. So I'm giving a win to the slabs. And if your wood is knotty at all, then slabs hand down win. Slabs it is.